In this video, we're gonna go and talk about real estate investing for beginners, expectation versus the reality. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Sam Kwak, one of the Kwak brothers, real estate investor. And in this video, we're gonna go and talk about real estate investing for beginners, the expectation and the reality. Now, before we get to the main content, be sure you hit the subscribe button as well as hit the bell icon so that you get notified for our future videos. Now, if you are a beginner watching this video for real estate investing, awesome, glad to have you here. And we're gonna go and dispel some of the expectations that you may have. Now, I've been through that road. I was once a beginner in real estate investing and I had a lot of expectations in my head and I had lots of goals and vision to be able to retire at a very short amount of time. Now, of course, reality hit hard, and I'm gonna share what those reality are and how to really prepare yourself mentally so that you can overcome some of the challenges as well as, quote unquote, reality that's gonna hit you really, really hard. Now, the first expectation that I see a lot in beginners of real estate investing is that a lot of beginners think that they can buy a rental property today and in just a few months they can retire, boom, and they're done, which really isn't always the case. Now, of course, there are exceptions, but in most cases, when you buy a rental property, it may take a couple months to a couple years to get the rental property up and going. Now, the reason why I say that is, first, you may have to get used to the idea of owning a rental property and being a landlord. It's a psychological thing. The second thing is that it's gonna take some time to not only set up your team, your vendors, your maintenance people. Even if you hire a property manager, you're still gonna have to manage that property manager as well as take some time to build the trust. So the first few months and few years, it is gonna involve some time as well as your attention to making sure that you have the proper business set up in place and that you have a process and a system that's gonna guide your rental property. So it's not gonna be truly passive in itself. Buying a rental property isn't gonna automatically make passive income immediately, but you do have to get the business side of things set up to get to close to being passive in rental property management. The second expectation that I see a lot is when it comes to fix and flip, a lot of investors in the beginning think that they can just buy any house, put whatever repairs on it, and boom, you're gonna make $50,000 profit, which isn't always necessarily true. You have to do your due diligence and also understand that not every deal is gonna be profitable. You have to be very picky, you have to do your numbers and analyze it to make sure and double check that the deal is going to make money. And I've made my share of mistakes doing this where I thought buying any house, putting any repair could generate me a lot of money, which again, isn't always the case. You have to remember and be very focal about the ARV, which stands for after repair value. This is super important when you're doing a fix and flip because when you're buying a home, you want to know how much that home is worth before you start to repair and before you even buy it. So when I buy a property for a fix and flip, the first thing that I do is I determine what is the ARV of this property. If I fix it up, repair it, and make it really, look really nice, what can I sell it for? And I'm gonna stick with the conservative number. I know a lot of beginners and newbies in real estate investing, they're gonna go and get their ARV and they take the highest ARV ever, projected ARV, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's a high number, I'm gonna take that number, which in reality, what you should be doing is staying conservative and taking the lowest number of the ARV projection. So if you look at a house, when you look at a house, and let's say you determine that ARV is $100,000, and you know that the repair cost is gonna be $40,000 and there's miscellaneous fees of $10,000, then you know that you should probably buy the house below $50,000 if you ever want to make profit on that deal. In fact, I have a completely separate video from many years ago called How to Start the Best Fix and Flip Business. That video is gonna be right there, so click on that video, watch how to start the best fix and flip business in real estate investing. So that's one of the expectations that I see a lot in the beginners, but in reality, there's a lot of work that involves in determining what the ARV is, what the repair cost is going to be, making sure that you project the profit in a very reasonable manner. Make sure you do your due diligence before going out there and buying just any house, doing any type of repair, thinking that you can make a lot of money. Now, the next expectation that I see a lot in the beginners is that the beginners believe that they need lots of cash as well as lots of good credit to be able to do a real estate deal, which is actually not true. My brother and I went from 0 to 75 rental units without having to use any of our own cash or credit. Not that we have any, but back when we first got started, my brother and I, we were college students. We didn't have a whole lot of money. We didn't have good credit. I mean, 99.9% chance that a bank would turn us down for a loan. And we pretty much had zero possibility to buy rental properties as well as do fix and flips through the traditional route. But we came across a method called owner financing, which involves a negotiation with the seller. And it's an arrangement where you make monthly payments to the seller, just like a bank, in exchange for the ownership right of that property. So basically, the seller plays the bank. We just make monthly payments to the seller each month, and we get ownership right of the property. We can rent it out, create cash flow, and so on. So that's one way that we didn't need to go through the banks and use our credit. The next part, which is the money part, we learned how to raise capital from other people that do have the money, kind of like Shark Tank, and we would obviously share the profit with those individuals that get involved in our deal. So by using other people's money and sharing the profit of our deal, as well as leveraging the idea and the concept of owner financing, we were able to buy rental properties as well as do fix and flips without having to use our money or credit. So if you are a beginner of real estate investing and you're speculating, you're looking into starting your own real estate investing business, and you're thinking, man, I don't have the money, I don't have the credit, well, there is a way, and luckily we do spell that out in our book, 0 to 75 units in just 1 year. And we're gonna show you guys how we negotiated for the owner financing acquisition method, without using the credit, and also using other people's money, okay, to fund our deal and ultimately split the profit that we generate from those deals. So yes, there is a way of doing real estate investing without having to have a lot of money as well as good credit. Now, does having money and having good credit help? Absolutely. It's a great tool. If you have your own resources, that's great. But if you don't have resources, there are other things you can leverage, such as your knowledge and expertise that you're learning from the Kwak brothers. Now, another expectation that I see is that people tell me, Sam, I want to do wholesaling first. That seems to be the best route to get started before I get to the rental property. Now, that could be a potential way, but it's not always the case. You don't have to do wholesaling before you get into the fix and flips and rental property. Now, does it help to know how to wholesale before you get into rental properties as well as fix and flip? Sure. Wholesaling teaches you valuable skill on how to analyze the deal, how to do some great marketing, as well as how to network with buyers and sellers, which is very great. But you don't necessarily have to start a wholesaling business before you get into the rental property as well as the fix and flip. In fact, my brother and I, Daniel and I, we skipped wholesaling completely and went straight into buying rental properties. We thought, why spend 3 years or 2 years trying to master this idea of wholesaling when we can go and spend that same amount of time to master owner financing, raising capital, build passive income right away so that we could retire faster, we could build equity and wealth faster. So we didn't necessarily go through the wholesaling route. Did we do wholesaling deals? Sure, we did a couple wholesaling deals, but we weren't focused in building a wholesaling business. We were rather focused on mastering owner financing as well as raising capital so that we can get into rental properties and fix and flipping right away, because of course that's where the real money's at. Now, another thing I see is that a lot of beginner landlords as well as real estate investors think, I'm gonna be uber profitable at first, which may not be always the truth. Now, there's of course, rare instances and cases where you may hit a lucky deal and you make a lot of money. But I'm gonna go ahead and point out to rental properties specifically, and I am gonna use the board to illustrate this part. But when it comes to buying a rental property, just like my first point of, you need to spend some time of setting up your business, getting your maintenance team up, your vendors up and ready and going, when you first buy a rental property, you actually may not cash flow right away. Now, here's what I mean by that. I'm going to draw a chart here. Okay, this is the x-axis is time. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 represents the amount of years that you have owned this property, and what we are going to draw here is going to be your yield percentage. So what tends to happen at first is you may see something like this, okay? And what I mean, and there's a thing called the dip, Okay, this dip right here, this happens to a lot of beginner real estate investors. Mainly, it's not because of the beginner real estate investor's fault. It's because of the previous owner and bad property management. You guys know about Newton's law, right? An object in motion stays in motion. Okay, there's that inertia, right? There's that momentum. So when a property has been under a bad property management, it's going to continue to suffer until obviously you, being the good property manager and a landlord, is going to come and fix the bad property management process. You're going to do some maintenance, you're going to do some repairs, put good tenants in there, raise the rents, right? Do some great things to the property. And then usually around the first or second year, you're going to see an upswing of your yield percentage. You're going to create more revenue and income and generate more profit. So a lot of beginner real estate investors don't anticipate this dip. They don't foresee that you may have to fork over a couple $1,000s just so that you can get the management up and going. Again, like I said in my first point, it's going to take some time to get your vendors, your maintenance team, getting some repairs done on the property. Now, of course, if your rental property was turnkey, you may not see this dip on the yield curve. But in most cases, if you buy a distressed property, you're gonna see that little dip where you may have a negative yield percentage for some time, and then after you make some improvement and you reinvest some of the funds back into repairs, you're going to see an upswing on your yield and you're going to start seeing profit from that. So that's another expectation that I see a lot in beginner real estate investors. They think they're going to be profitable right away, which is not always true. This is something that I've even experienced in buying rental properties, where some of my properties required having to do some repairs in the beginning in order for me to start cash flowing and creating revenue on this deal. Now, one thing I want to offer you guys is a free course on owner financing. I know that's something that we talked about in this video, which is getting the seller to be like the bank and paying monthly payments to the seller. So Daniel and I created a brand new free owner financing course that you can sign up for. No fee, no gimmicks. There's no catch. This is an absolutely free course, a gift to you guys. So what you need to do to get that course is there's a link down below in the link description below. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to actually write down the link on the board in case you missed the link in the link description box. The link to the course is free owner financing course.com. So if you go to, I know it's a little long, freeownerfinancingcourse.com, and this is a complimentary course that we created for you guys. You can sign up for it today, free, no gimmick. Just tell us who you are, your email address, so that we can get you signed up and create an account for login. So we're going to offer a free course for owner financing. Now, be sure, again, to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you love this video, and hit the bell icon to get notified for our future YouTube videos. And for the next video you should watch is how to negotiate for owner financing. I know that's something that we talked about today without having to use credit and without having to use your money. Go and watch that video right here. How to negotiate for owner financing. We're going to teach you everything that you need to know about negotiating for owner financing, as well as signing up for our free course that's going to teach you all the details and what owner financing could be for your next deal. So, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video right here, and I'll see you guys in that video.